Hello, Earth family. Welcome to the new moon in Virgo on September 17th, 2020. This is your energy forecast for this week. So congratulations, we survived the intense energies of Mars stationing and going retrograde last week. And guess what? We have some good news. So Virgo in the new moon is appearing on Thursday. Well, what does that mean? Virgo is a very practical earth sign, which means that this is a great time for material manifestations, long-term material manifestations. And if you notice, we've been, astrologers and myself have been talking about the Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter conjunction. We've been talking about that since January 12th, 2020, which really it started in April of 2019. So right now it's especially Pluto, which is a very intense planet of transformation, and Saturn, which is that, planet of limitation and fear and, bureaucracy and delays, that's really intensifying its conjunction. So what does that mean? And then you have this energy of Virgo saying like, okay, green light on physical material manifestations that are long-term for our happiness or support, right? So what that means is we're really, letting go of that old cycle, whatever doesn't serve us for the last 35 years. We've been working towards that all year, but now there's like this energy, this momentum that like, okay, you really let go of these old things, and now it's time to seed these new things into play, right? Because really in December, it's also going to be like the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, so we really need to kind of build up to that. So especially with Mars slowing down and going into retrograde, this isn't a time to like start new projects or whatever, but it's time to start planning on like what's next, what is it that you really want. So kind of like, is it a big move that you're planning, right? Is it a course launch, right? Is it an online business? Is it, leaving your job? Is it, getting married? Whatever it is that's been your heart's desire, and you felt like there's been blocks and resistance around that, all year. And since last year, it's like this is the opportunity to really start planning for the future and understand that it is going to produce fruit. It's just going to be a long-term gain. And so right now it's just like you need to be getting ready to be ready, right? So it's a really exciting time. The energies are much, much lighter this week. However, I will say you might notice that I'm a little tired. I had a really hard time sleeping last night because usually I tell you guys this all the time. So I'm a Cancer ascendant. And so if you don't know what ascendant you are, you could just go into one of these free websites like astro.com and plugging the exact time of your birth, an exact place. And then you're able to get like most of you know what your sun zodiac sign is, right? So, and then you'll be able to get your ascendant and your moon. And that's really important because your sun is like how you show up in the public realm, and then your moon is more like your internal emotional, the way that you are perceived, and then your moon is kind of like in the background affecting everything. So it's important, I highly recommend astrology. I'm like super geeking out about the astrology of relocation and astrocartography, especially if you're somebody like me who travels a lot and moves around. It's a total game changer. It changes your birth chart. It changes how the energies present. And it's a really great way to manifest, kind of the ultimate life of your dreams. If you want to amplify your career, your love relationship energies, you can actually do one for your partner too. So anyhow, so if you're interested, go look up your ascendant. But for me, my ascendant is Cancer. So Cancer is an emotional sign. It's a water sign. It's ruled, it's the nurturer, the healer, the mother energy, and it is ruled by the moon, right? So that's kind of my internal dialogue, right, and narrative. And so I'm ruled by the moon, so I'm really sensitive. So for those of you that are ruled by the moon, any signs that are ruled, by the moon, you're going to be affected by the moon so much more, than everybody else. And so just kind of notice around the new moon or the full moon, like 3 days before, 3 days after, just notice how you feel, right? So for me, I usually have to sleep a lot or usually can't sleep if the energy is too intense. But anyway, so that's kind of what was happening is that my body is already preparing for these higher cosmic energies. And just look at the new moon, the full moon, anything like eclipses, things like that. Just think of them as, you know, any cosmic events in astrology. That's why I love astrology so much, even though I'm a healer, but I'm like super into astrology, because it's like, it's the cosmic playbook to the universe, right? So it helps you understand on a collective level, like what is happening in the cosmos, because these energies are flooding Earth and we're just like not aware of it. We're like either cranky or we're craving carbs, right? Or potatoes or pizza or whatever, or we're getting, you know, we're feeling super exhausted and we need to sleep a lot, or we can't sleep because the energy is like popping. So it's good to understand like why is that affecting you. And there's just like this energy of almost like expectation, like I said, you know, with the momentum happening. So I'm like really excited because, you know, for me, I'm thinking about these like long-term goals that I've wanted for myself. And for some reason, there's been some obstacles or some blocks that have prevented me. And I'm somebody, and I teach this, you know, teach this religiously, is like, you know, don't make decisions unless you're in alignment with it, right? Because your inner world informs your outer world, right? Your outer world is like a mirror, it's a hologram. So if you're in alignment, if you feel confident, if you've done the groundwork, if you've done the foundation, you've done your homework and you feel confident, you're going to be able to, you know, manifest so much more easily and attract, you know, and being this magnetic being, you know, this reality into play, and you don't have to toil and hustle and, you know, work really, really hard. So if you've just been noticing that something's just like not coming into play and there's just been like little tweaks that you've had to make, this is the time to start to really kind of put the foundation in and seed the, you know, the actual practical steps, because again, Virgo is an earth sign, it's a practical sign. And it does affect, you know, to some degree, money and things like that, and definitely very material, right? So those material things, not these kind of like Neptunian, Piscean kind of idealistic ideas or projects or passion projects. No, this is like for practical, like business or practical tactical moves, like you're moving your family or something like that. Okay. So that's a little bit about the astrology. Energetically, like I said, there is that momentum, but there's also a little bit of restlessness in the energy field and in the collective. So it's almost like we feel something big coming, but we don't quite know what it is, right? Because in this, you know, in this great awakening of 2020, in this kind of us being forced to be so present, and with no escape to run away from our problems, our issues, or anything that we need to work on, you know, we've not only awakened more and more every day, but we've also become really heightened. A lot of people are starting to feel their auric field. A lot of people are starting to be, you know, much, much more cognizant of what's really going on. And so I highly encourage you to fine tune, to meditate, to be more present, to slow down, right? And to really kind of feel what's going on, because something big is happening. And a lot of us may be feeling a little bit of frustration, especially last week with the Mars energy station going retrograde, because we feel like, okay, maybe I'm meant to move, or maybe I'm supposed to leave my corporate job and, you know, do some soul work, right? Or do some, you know, social entrepreneurship or whatever it is, or, you know, maybe I'm supposed to end a relationship or whatever it is. But we kind of feel, a lot of us like feel like there's something we're meant to do in our soul mission, but like somehow it's not time yet. So I don't know if that resonates with you, but just hit me up, DM me, message me, leave a comment, let me know how you're feeling. If you feel like something big is coming down the pike and you just don't quite know what. So I'm also curious, hit me up and let me know if you're feeling any ascension symptoms, which is, like I said, like some ascension symptoms could be also like I said, having trouble sleeping. Sometimes it's headaches. Sometimes it's like ringing in the ears. Sometimes it's like basically maybe having excess earwax or something like that. Feeling excessively like achy, having back pain or muscle aches, things like that. So I know that I've been totally up-leveling and upgrading, and I've been talking about it for a while. And there's this so I have this great detox recipe in my detox guide with the online program, and actually just interviewed Jacqueline Martinez yesterday, and she was phenomenal. Honestly, it was like the best testimonial interview I've ever done. I can't wait to share that with you guys as I get ready to launch my digital online course officially. But she came up with this great title for the course, so we might rebrand, so we'll see. But she came up with a really great title, and so essentially I bring this up because this detox recipe is in there, and so you know, green juices, detox recipes, those are your friends because they're super high vibing. And I really encourage you to use, you know, food as medicine because it's huge. And it's interesting, there's a gal, I think Carissa Fur is her name. She's amazing. She is a very big proponent and very outspoken about, you know, saving the children and human trafficking, and just beautiful soul inside and out, and is also a yogi. And she's on Instagram, and she has this amazing detoxification, heavy metal detoxification recipe, which I love. And it's very similar to mine. She just like adds a couple of things like cilantro, which is really great for removing heavy metals. And also she adds chlorella and barley juice, and spirulina, which are amazing for detoxification, right? So I highly encourage you to detoxify your body because a lot of us are constantly exposed to toxins and chemicals in the form of chemtrails in the air, in the form of just, you know, products that we put on our face. That's why I'm such a big proponent of clean beauty, because there's so many chemicals and toxins in our makeup as women, and also just topical products for men too, that you put on your skin. Those of us that eat seafood are being exposed to mercury on the regular. And speaking of mercury, I have to give a shout out to a friend, Karen Hellman, who's amazing, super woke, fellow healer, and she's actually one of the teachers on my program. And she's really a big advocate on educating people about vaccines, and she really recommended the Vaccines Revealed video series, and you're more than welcome to look that up, Vaccines Revealed. I just had a really candid conversation with my mom, who's elderly, and so of course, you know, she's quarantining and staying safe in Canada. And I told her, I'm like, Mom, please don't take any flu vaccines or any vaccines because there are really a lot of harmful ingredients in it. And so when you know, so I literally watched 2 hours of interviews on Vaccines Revealed. And they also recommended, I believe it's called like autism.net, because there is a huge link with that, and also mental health. And literally it's like doctors interviewing other doctors. And I know that I have nurses as clients, and like they're forced to take the flu vaccine and in order to do their job. And like literally Canadian nurses fought and won that they don't have to take it because there's no data supporting that the flu vaccine actually helps, you know, eliminate any deaths. And it's just $1 billion industry. And so I highly encourage you to educate yourself on vaccines. Like for me, it was just like kind of like something I heard in the background. I was like, oh yeah, like I'm a very healthy person. I don't see a doctor because I'm a holistic healer. I heal myself. I use herbs and essential oils, and I use food as medicine, and I have really healthy immunity, and I work out, I lift weights, I do cardio, and I do yoga, and I'm a very healthy person. Having said that, I reserve going to the hospital or the doctor for acute situations, but I feel like if you put the effort and money and energy into your preventative care, then you're golden. You can live longer, you can be healthier, you can have vitality, and you can thrive in your life, and you don't have to give your power away to the medical industry. And to be honest with you, it was like mind blowing because I watched 2 hours of, video interviews. Again, highly recommend it. Vaccines Revealed, by doctors interviewing doctors, and doctors saying like they're basically just handing out down, following policy from the CDC or other medical bodies, because doctors don't have the time nor do they have the expertise to research vaccines and these different things. And it was just like mind blowing to me. This one doctor was saying that basically there are vaccines labeled that they are mercury free, but when you go test them, there is mercury in them. And then when they testified in front of Congress, basically the FDA and they basically were just like, oh well it's introduced after the fact for preservatives or packaging. Or even Eli Lilly produces that, who's a big pharma company here in Indianapolis. And so it's just shocking to me that like nobody's taking responsibility. It's criminal. Like you're labeling products as mercury free and they're not, and misguiding the public, right? So anyway, so just look up that stuff and just know that if you do decide to take antidepressants or pills or any of that changes your biology, and within 3 months, and the doctors are like, it's very difficult to get off of that because your system literally will fall down because you've become dependent on this thing that's disrupting your system. So just go down the rabbit hole, and do your research. I love you guys lots. Rena with InsideJobHealing.com.